So you recently finished a internship or co-op or some sort of experience with someone, whether it be an organization or a prof, and you're thinking about whether or not you should ask the individual you are reporting to for a generic reference letter, so you can keep on record in case in the future someone asks, or you can just include it as part of your application for additional schooling or another job, and you're wondering, should you ask someone for a generic reference letter? So in general, from a recruiter's perspective, from both the academic side and from a hiring manager perspective, a generic reference letter, which I sometimes get when we're posting for a position within an organization. Some applicants do include a reference letter without asking. And although it is interesting to read what the person thinks about you, but in general, a generic reference letter that is included unsolicited normally doesn't add to how well or how poor you're going to score in the application process. We see it as a bonus, but we're not going to give out any bonus marks. And here's why. Because when we do consider you for a position, whether it be for grad school where we are going to ask for references anyways, or if you're hiring for a job, if you're one of the shortlisted candidates in the end, we will be asking for your references regardless. So we're going to be able to access, what other people think about you. So having a generic reference letter isn't going to do much. And second, we kind of see these generic reference letters akin to, for example, LinkedIn recommendations. Of course, you're going to be asking someone who knows you well for your to write something about yourself. So we definitely take it with a grain of salt, and oftentimes when it comes to the reference stage, we probably have particular questions that we want to ask about yourself. It may be that we might have some concerns about you during the interview, and we want to just flush it out with a past supervisor, or we might have something really pointed about you in the admissions process. For example, tell me, what do you think this person will do in 10 years' time? And again, because if it's a generic reference letter, normally the content is quite vague and broad. In generic reference letters, what I normally see is just some sort of explanation that this person worked with them for X amount of months or years in this capacity, and that they will highly recommend them for any future position. So because the content is quite vague and broad, so in the end, when it comes to reference stage, you will be asked again to provide references, and oftentimes these generic reference letters don't include the particular information that we're looking for, which is why in general, you could ask for these generic reference letters in case you want to, as a proof of some sort of extracurriculars or volunteering experience. But if you think that is going to add to the admissions process or help you secure a job in the end, then it won't, because those processes will have their own reference process, and that in general, a generic reference letter will not meet those criteria.